So, Free Willy meets the Shallows and a little bit of Orca. Why, hello there YouTube and welcome to a Revolting review. I'm Random Ross and today in this one I'm reviewing the film Killer Whale. Yes, Killer Whale is written by Joanne Brechin and Catherine McPhee and is directed by Joanne Brechin, starring Virginia Gardner, Mel Johnston and Mitchell Hope. So, this is an aquatic thriller, a survival thriller. Follows two best friends, Maddie and Trish, as they find themselves trapped on a remote lagoon with a dangerous killer whale named Ceto. And so that's the essential plot there. What did I like about this one? Well, there was predictions with this movie saying it's not going to be great. So what happens is, you know, as I've explained already, like at the beginning, our main protagonist suffers a terrible tragedy, and 1 year later her friend encourages her to go on this holiday to Thailand, and then, you know, there's like this orca does orca shows, but at this point decides it's had enough and it escapes or is released back into the wild, and she's pissed off and basically traps our two main characters on the remote lagoon on a rock where the orca is circling them, pretty much like the shark did with Blake Lively's character in The Shallows, and kind of like Free Willy, how the whale is somehow released, has the floppy fin as well, like they do in captivity. So what did I like about this one? Well, at first I thought it was okay. I thought the drama at the beginning was, I was thinking, yeah, it's probably predictable as hell. He's going to get himself killed and that by this robbery, and that happens at the start. And you know what? I actually thought the first act, the human drama in it, was actually all right. I didn't mind it, but then we see the whale, or the orca. Technically orcas are dolphins, but we see the orca, and the CGI on this is just poor. I mean, I'd probably get it was on a tight budget as it was, and had good scenery and location, but then they cut to the bit where they're stranded on the rock and the whale's circling them. The whale is just basically is CGI, but it also looks like it was done by AI generated and that. I'm like, there are just so many flaws they have with the whale, Ceto, because that's the whale's name. Also, I think it was probably low budgeted to the point where we didn't even see her leave captivity on screen. All we know is that it kills a janitor, then the security guard is ordered to let the fish go, which is, they're not fish, they're mammals. But yeah, like, did she escape or break out, or was she let out? I think maybe let out. But like I say, that all happened off screen, and we cut to the bit where the two friends meet this guy. They're chilling out around the lagoon till she attacks, and Ceto's a nasty orca that eats people and kills them. And yeah, I mean, our characters, there are some smart decisions made in this, some good survival hacks they have on this, our two friends Maddie and Trish, but then one of them, they're stranded on the rock and they're hoping that a boat or a plane had passed them by. At one point, one of them actually makes it to a little bit of land where there's sand. Wasn't meant to rhyme. She makes out as SOS, but she's not watching what she's doing, and the whale gets the upper hand and drags her away. And basically, that is when a dumb decision's made. And it's like, how is she going to get out of this one now? She's the only one. And Yeah. Um, also, it takes place 1 year after her supposed boyfriend was killed in this robbery. And there's even a big plot twist in there where it turns out Trish, her friend, who's a scientist and a student scientist and social media influencer, apparently set the whole thing up because she was down on her luck with cash, but has made that money back with her social media stuff. Yeah, I gotta admit, I didn't see that coming, but I'm like, oh, typical now. They're gonna hate each other, and then she's gonna try and have to redeem herself in some stupid way. Um, yeah, this film was about 90 minutes long, and basically, we don't see much until 40 minutes in. Like, the horror doesn't really get there much until 40 minutes in. We get a brief opening scene with one of the trainers who goes into the tank to try and get Ceto out or what have you, and then in typical cliche fashion she gets it, and yeah, there's just so much. And like I say, I think the CGI on Ceto were good in some shots, but then tacky in others. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be a blockbuster. I knew that this was probably not going to be perfect or brilliant, but I gotta say there was some good acting in there in some bits. But the creature feature CGI just let me down a bit. But also, there was like in the middle act where they're stuck on the rock and it gets boring. And, we hardly ever see the whale as well. We don't see much of the orca when they're on the rock. They're like sat there talking and stuff. They managed to fish out an oyster and eat that. They managed to make sandwich, sweat, water, whatever for water and that. And they get sunburnt and stuff, all that. But yeah, like I say, the middle act just got kind of boring in that bit, and I was nearly thinking, God, is it going to happen yet? And like I say, the whale didn't feature much in that. And even in the finale, does the whale die? No. I mean, is this film even worth going to see in cinemas? Probably not. I'd say wait until this is available for home streaming, because it was just meh. I mean, I'm thinking, well, that's a bit of a change. That we get the whale. She has every reason to hate humans, and you know, after Maddie gets a brief upper hand, jabbing her in the eye, she parts with her, and then that's it. And then the ending is predictable as hell, really, and stuff. Also, one of them has like a waterproof smartphone that they put into a jet ski compartment, and the jet ski gets sunk. That's how they end up in the lagoon. Yeah, pretty much predictable as hell. And like I say, kind of reminded me of Free Willy, and then again of the film Orca, a very underrated film with Richard Harris there, which I think, vengeful stuff, and you get the whale's motive. But then the Shallows, because they're stranded on a rock, just that bit away from shore, and the creatures circling them. So I feel they got bits of all that and mashed it together, or they excluded any sharks and had an orca in there. So, like I say, I think the cast were good. I mean, I'm not very familiar with them, but I reckon they did well with what they were given to work with. And like I say, the first act of the film, there is some drama in there, which I think was probably the most entertaining part of the film, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, killer whale. Do I have anything more I want to add on this? I don't think so. So, ratings. What am I going to rate Killer Whale? I will probably give this... You know what? I like to think they at least tried with it, maybe. I'll give it 2.5 stabs out of 5. 2.5 stars out of 5 for Killer Whale. So there you go. There is my review for that one. Have you seen it? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Share with your friends and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and to hit that notification bell. I've been Random Ross. This has been a Revolting review. And yeah, on Killer Whale. So until next time. Can't get the click right. Ah, there we go. Don't have nightmares.